let's be honest, for years, blockchain has been this huge buzzword, right? Something that always seems to be tied to cryptocurrency. But what if I told you the real revolution is happening right now, kind of quietly, in the industries we all depend on every single day? In this explainer, we're going to pull back that curtain and see how this amazing blueprint is finally becoming a real, tangible thing.
I mean, think about it for a second. The food you eat, the phone in your pocket, can you really trace its journey all the way from the source to your hands? For most of us, that's a big no. Our supply chains are so incredibly complex now that they've created this huge gap, a gap in transparency. And that gap isn't just a curiosity. It's about trust. It's actually the biggest challenge we face, whether we're talking about business deals, our own medical records, or even public services. The fundamental problem is proving that information is real and that nobody has messed with it. This is exactly the problem blockchain was built to solve. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to look beyond crypto at some real-world industry cases. Then we'll break down the enterprise blueprint that makes this stuff ready for business. After that, we'll get our hands dirty and see how a blockchain is actually built. And finally, we'll look ahead to the decentralized future this is all creating.
Okay, so if blockchain is supposed to be the answer to this huge trust problem, where's the proof? Let's dive right in and look at a few industries where this technology is already making a very real difference.
So, in retail, things like food fraud or contamination, they're massive problems. A single product recall can cost a company $10 million easy. But by using an enterprise-grade blockchain, something like Hyperledger Fabric, retailers can now trace a head of lettuce right back to the exact farm it came from. Just imagine it. The farmer, the packer, the shipper, they all share one single, unchangeable digital record. It creates what we call a single source of truth, getting rid of all the messy paperwork and giving everyone, including you, some serious trust in the system.
Finance is another perfect use case. You have these huge banks, including the South African Reserve Bank, and for them, settling massive numbers of transactions was always this slow, painful process. So they built a consortium blockchain, which is basically a private network just for trusted partners, using a platform called Quorum. And the results? Get this, they securely process 70,000 transactions in less than 2 hours. That proves blockchain can deliver not just security, but some absolutely incredible speed at an industrial scale.
And what about something as personal as our own health records? You know how it is. Your data is scattered everywhere, across different doctors, different hospitals. It's not secure, and it's a pain to access. Well, a system like MedRec puts you, the patient, back in the driver's seat. Your medical history lives on a ledger that can't be changed, and you use smart contracts, which are really just automated rules, to grant, say, temporary access to a new doctor. The key here is you own and control your data. It's a game changer for privacy and accuracy.
So we've seen blockchain fixing real problems in retail, finance, and healthcare. But how? What makes the blockchain a bank uses any different from something like Bitcoin? Well, the answer is in a specific blueprint, one designed just for business. Let's dig into what makes it enterprise-ready.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. On one hand, you've got public blockchains, like Bitcoin. They're open to anyone, totally anonymous. And that's great for decentralization, but man, it's slow. It can take 10 minutes just to add one new block. On the other hand, you have enterprise blockchains like Hyperledger. These are permissioned networks. Everyone involved is known and trusted. And that allows for way more control, incredible speed, and all the privacy that businesses absolutely need.
So how does a transaction actually work here? Well, first, a request gets sent. Then, a few trusted members on the network check that request against the rules. Once it's validated, it goes to a special node that acts like an air traffic controller. It makes sure everyone agrees. That's the consensus. And then it officially orders the transactions into a brand new block. Finally, it sends that new block out to everyone on the network, and bam, all their ledgers are updated at the same time. It's a super structured, super secure process. Okay, that whole flow might sound a little complex, but the technology that powers it all is built on just a few beautifully simple ideas. Let's peel back one more layer and look at the core building blocks that make this whole thing work.
It all starts with the block. Just think of it like a digital container, or maybe a single page in a ledger book. And on that page, you've got 3 key things: the actual transaction data, a unique ID called a hash, which is like a digital fingerprint for that data, and this is the crucial part, the hash of the block that came right before it.
And this hash is the secret sauce. A hash is just a unique string of characters you get from running some data through a special function. But the magic is something called the avalanche effect. If you change even a single comma in the original data, the output hash becomes completely different. It's what makes it basically impossible to tamper with the data without everyone knowing instantly.
So let's put it all together. The very first block ever is called the Genesis block. Then, block 1 holds its own data plus the hash of that Genesis block. Then, block 2 has its data plus the hash of block 1, and on it goes. This linking of hashes creates a cryptographic chain. If someone tried to secretly change the data in block 1, its hash would change, which would break the link to block 2. The entire network would immediately see it and reject the change. That's what makes a blockchain so secure and unchangeable.
So we've got the blocks, we've got the hashes, and we've got the chain. We understand the enterprise blueprint. Now that we see how it's all built, we can start to really imagine what we can build with it. So let's look ahead. Where is all this taking us?
Honestly, the potential here is staggering. We're talking about a future with secure communication between billions of smart devices. Or think about smart grids, where neighbors can trade their extra solar energy directly with each other, cutting out the big utility companies. Imagine buying a house with transparent records and almost no paperwork. Or a world where you truly own your digital identity, not some big corporation. This tech is the foundation for smarter, more efficient cities and services. From banks and governments to retailers and hospitals, blockchain is a technology designed to create trust without needing a central middleman. And that forces us to ask a really powerful question. What systems in our world today are built on these trusted middlemen, and which of them will a decentralized blueprint make obsolete tomorrow?